Hey everybody, I'm Patrick from Outsider Reviews, and as you guys are seeing, and we're seeing the same thing, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are telling you there's a lot of overflow lots from the dealerships where they're hiding their inventory and they're telling you that we don't have any inventory. Well, here I am. This is a gravel parking lot. This particular one is Ford. We have some Lightning, some Raptors, and everything. But our question is this the real reason? Is this why? Well, we don't have the answer. We went and asked our very own insider. We have a Ford insider from Johnny's Car Care and Review channel. And we also have our very own insider, Junior, who also works for Nissan. So we asked these two, what is the deal with all these overflow parking lots being filled with inventory, being tucked away from the dealers? So listen in and let's find out. So I'm seeing these videos on YouTube. I've talked to Johnny about this, of people showing, stash away lots full of inventory, and making these videos saying, like Ford has too many trucks or Nissan has too many cars or that kind of stuff, right? So I almost did that video because I saw at dealers here, and after driving a few blocks, I noticed they had these like barbed wire lots, these compounds full of inventory. So if you're a customer, you're looking at that, you're thinking they got to start rebating some vehicles. But what's the truth? What's the background in the works about all these YouTube videos we're seeing? Junior, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I can only speak with my dealership and my lot. I have a massive lot at the back of my dealership, and it's not full. I have customers that I've bought vehicles like 3-4 months ago, and now the cars are starting to come. Right, like just to say example, this month I have 49 orders from the past few months that are coming in July, right? So which is good. I like that. So we're seeing progress in with the manufacturer, which is amazing. Now, because I have a lot of cars, let's just say a dealership has a lot of cars on their lot, it doesn't mean that they need to discount the vehicles. It just needs that they have inventory, right? And now, maybe Johnny can vouch for this. I don't know how Ford does it, but then if you by the end of the year of your quarter, whenever you need to meet your numbers, and then you need to sell some cars, you're gonna discount. You're gonna offer some rebates, and that's just the fact.
When the new
You know what I
models
mean?
are coming in, right? We know some 24s are
Yeah.
about to roll off for
Right,
different
and
products.
that's just how it is, because again, we're in July. Technically, the 2024s are going to start rolling in the next few months. So if a dealership still has like 2023 models, the manufacturer will come out with some sort of rebate and say, okay, clear out all your cars. Or the worst thing that's going to happen is that they're going to demo those vehicles to whoever needs to drive the cars, right? So so it all depends.
And I do know the difference between stashed inventory and fleet inventory. If you guys go in a lot and you see all white pickup trucks, these are not for customers, just so you guys know. If you see that in some of those YouTube videos. But Johnny, I'll let you answer that question as well about stashed inventory, all these secret lots that you see on YouTube. Oh, look at that. They rented this space to stash and they're not discounting vehicles. What are your thoughts?
Well, thank you. You guys have actually done an excellent job of answering it. So I don't know if I'm really adding anything new, maybe a little bit, but I'd say from my experiences, from looking at different lots as well, because I've got I always have the option of, do I make a YouTube video for this, like you're asking yourself. And for how I feel about YouTube is I really, really like 3 out of 10 YouTubers, and I really strongly dislike 7 out of 10. So I'm like a YouTuber who, for the
Johnny loves
majority,
motor feed.
yeah, I generally hate YouTubers, and I'm a YouTuber, but I do like 3 out of 10 YouTubers. And it's all about how you collect your data and not going for, the easy win. I could probably be an excellent boxer if I go into, I don't want to sound horrible here, but if I go into a children's boxing match, I probably will win gold. at a boxing match that's made for 7 year olds. Well, I find a lot of YouTubers, this is how their whole business model is set up. They're like, who's the little kid I can beat on this week? So, and that's what I love about your show, Outsider Reviews. You look for the truth, and you're about no bull,
Yeah.
and I think that's fantastic. I'm always about don't get fooled, and cutting through the BS
Yeah.
busting. And what happens with lots, the real story to it is lots traditionally before the last 3 years, generally most dealerships had their front row filled. They all had their front row filled, and they had their back lot filled. And most dealers were also renting one, two, or even three extra lots. So, the easy money YouTube, what they're doing is they're now seeing that they find the different dealers with one lot that's partially full or full, and they're hiding vehicles. Look at the corruption, folks, when the real story is that there is no story. It's that as dealers we have a choice. Do we put as Junior mentioned really well, manufacturers are starting to finally give dealers vehicles, and these are mostly vehicles we ordered. So I've got a choice. If I've got, just recently, we had 7 Ford Mavericks come in within 8 business days. So do we put them all up front and people are upset because they think they're for sale, but they're not? Do we put them out back and people are upset because they say, you're trying to hide these from me? Why are you doing this? Or do we really upset people, and more so YouTubers who are going to make, $20,000-$30,000 because they get a couple million views? They make big money by finding the dealership. A lot of our orders we like to hide on our rented back lots because we don't want people thinking that they're for sale. We don't want to put them in the back lot because then people think that they're for sale, but we're hiding them, so we're going to increase the price on them. And we also don't want them getting damaged, because there's people, sometimes they'll be checking out these rare Mavericks, and they've got buttons on or zippers, and they scratch up the paint, or they park beside it and open their door against it. I've seen people open doors with by kicking their door. I think these people shouldn't be allowed to have driver's licenses, but then again, that's for another rant. So we often will hide them, the already sold units, on a further away lot where they're fenced in, they're safe. Are inventories increasing? Absolutely, because production is really going back to what we can say is normal. So there is extra inventory, but like Junior said, this doesn't mean that all of a sudden, because there's some inventory and there will be more inventory, it doesn't mean that that's what's going to be what crashes prices, and that you should. I've been really against YouTubers for the last 2 years saying, don't buy now, wait 90 days or wait 45 days, and they had people miss the best buying. The best over the last 30 years, the best time to buy a vehicle if you had a decent trade was 2021 and 2022.
I agree.
Because
Yeah.
the people's trades, as long as they're getting the
I've only
actual
been up
trade
since
value.
2 months, so I've actually been telling people to wait because I've only been up for 2 months since this YouTube channel. And I think in the last 2 or 3 months, I personally think that the deals are better now than they were 2 months ago, just
They
because
are.
it was tax season and people and the prices were, and Ford wasn't offering
Absolutely.
rebates on the F-150, and now they are.
Yep.
Nissan, well, the Frontier is still pretty popular. So I mean, I'm talking pickup truck because that's what I'm shopping for. So I haven't seen any rebates from Nissan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
And none on the
Also,
new
there's
Ranger, because of supply versus demand. And that's really what's going to decide plans. The reason F-150 went down in price is because demand went up. Sorry, supply went up and demand stayed. As you could say, demand kind of went up, but that's because Ford finally fed the fleet, which they ignored for a couple of years because they're just trying to get human customers their actual vehicles. So I do see prices continuing to go down a little for the F-150, but for something like a Ford Ranger prices, they'll only rebate that if there's a whole bunch of them sitting in yards. and we might still be a year away from that. So I agree with you, Pat. I think, 2, 3 months ago, someone were to ask me, do you think there'll be a better deal on an F-150 in 5 or 6 months from now? Well, I also was advocating since winter that I expected prices to come down on the F-150 come summer, as early as summer
Yeah.
to fall. Very
And
much,
now
I
there's
pretty
a
much
four
guarantee
thousand
fall.
dollar rebate on it, right?
Yeah,
And that's because, like you say, if you guys are keeping eyes on supply going up, Nissan it's a little bit behind on the supply world, I believe, because I'm looking at U.S. stats because Canada kind of sucks for providing those day supply kind of data,
yeah.
but we're usually a few months behind what the U.S. does. I find, but obviously lower in numbers as well. And one time that I think people should keep an eye out too is the end of the summer is what I've been saying. And that's basically because a lot of 24 model years are coming out, and a lot of 23 model years are gonna have to be sold. Am I right by thinking that, guys?
Well, this is my thing. And every year I always have that issues with some customers because I'll get the customer in July and I'm going to wait until September because I know the 2020, the new model year is coming out and I know you guys are going to have deals.
Yeah.
True. Very true. Now, when you come back in September, I may not have the car that you want, the color that you want, the package that you want. I may either have to upgrade you, I'll downsize you on your package, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I tell people. I was like, listen, you're right. The 2024, the new model year is going to come out, so the manufacturer will come out with some manufacturer's rebate maybe. But now your selection is going to be limited, right? So that's
And
why
the
a lot of
trade.
people sometimes get upset. Is like, oh, I wanted gray and I ended up with white. Well, I told you to buy it 2 months ago, and that's that. Right? And every year, I have at least 10 customers every year. They get upset because they wanted to wait. And then now either they get upgraded to a different vehicle or they get the color that they don't like. Right.
Yeah.
And then when they don't get the color they don't like, then now they want a rebate. Well, you're selling me a car that I technically don't want. I don't want that color. So I want a deal. Well, no, I'm not giving you a deal because you didn't want to buy it 2 months ago when I
The
told you to buy
rebates there because the selection has gone down.
it. Right.
And sometimes, not consumers and YouTube vastly is forgetting the fact that this whole buy fall advice, the whole danger with that is they're not being specific enough. I'm probably the worst in being long-winded on YouTube. I'm probably the worst YouTuber when it comes to being long-winded. I talk for way too long on one topic, but I like to be detailed. And I remind everyone that, your vehicle, your trade vehicle right now, well, heck, your trade vehicle back in March, when there wasn't a $4,000 rebate on the F-150. Well, your F-150, though, was worth thousands of dollars more. And it's your F-150. If you've got a 3, 4 year old F-150 and you're waiting for more rebates come October, well, expect to lose maybe another $3, 4,000 on your, you might lose 10%. You probably are going to lose 10% trade value on your, current 3, 4 year old F-150.
Okay.
Totally agree.
That
Totally
is
agree.
well.
No, I was just
I,
gonna say, yeah, because a lot of people come back, especially when they have a trade 6 months later, thinking the trade is valued at the same price that
Always.
we appraised it for 6 months
Yeah.
ago. And
Yeah.
I tell customers, I'm like, listen, the price I'm giving you now is if you trade in your vehicle within the next like couple weeks, right? But now if you come back in 6 months, I'm gonna give you a totally different number because now the market's gonna be different, everything's gonna be different. Maybe you're gonna get into an accident, knock on wood. You know what I mean? So it's something that when I ask the customer, when are you planning to buy the car? And then you're asking me for value on your trade, sometimes I may just send you home and say, listen, there's no point of me appraising your car right now because you want to buy in December. So my price isn't going to be different. I can give you a ballpark figure on what the amount's going to be, but in December and now, my pricing is going to be totally different, right?
As humans, we generally want to take far more than we give. And it's just how our brain is geared through evolution for survival. And what's incredible is we see this in sales because people, like you said, I've had people even a year later be very upset that their trade even went down at all. And these were times when, 2-year-old vehicles over 1 year would go down by, $2,000 on a $50,000 vehicle. And you're like, okay, well, let's look at this as a percentage. Your vehicle percentage has gone down. So oddly, as consumers, it's just human nature. We'll come back 6 months later because we want that $4,000 rebate, but we won't accept that our trade has gone down by $2,000 in 6 months. And it's like, well, you've gained 4,000 on the new, you've lost 2,000 on the used, you're still winning by $2,000, right? And generally, that's not how people's brains work. They go, well, no, I need the same trade value as I had 6 months ago and the $4,000 rebate. But the thing is, because the new models are out, the current model, the 24s are going to be out in 2 months. So yeah, the 23s are going to be rebated by, let's say on average, $4,000. But your trade is also a year older. And we have to accept it's worth less. So already there's so many points where there can be fighting and, friction between the consumer and the seller, the dealer, that I don't see why for decades, we've had this, I feel like this antique, horrible model of I have to negotiate my vehicle for 2 hours to get a good deal. And every car dealership knows people are coming in ready to negotiate for 1 or 2 hours. So do they start with their best price? If they're dumb, yes. If it's a salesman who only wants to work in sales for 2 months and then get fired, maybe he'll start with his best price. And actually, that's often generally me. I've had horrible. I've been kind of a dummy for the last 10 years. I'll often start with pretty much my best price. And it's the price that my dealership is comfortable selling with. They're not making a ton of money, but they're not losing money either. They're still making some money. It's considered what would be a pretty darn good price. And if you give that up front right away with this world of I have to negotiate to get a good price, well, then if you move anywhere, if you go lower, well, then your dealership's like, dude, you're not making any money for us. Like, what's going on? And if you don't move, well, then the consumer feels like I didn't get a good deal, even though they did get a good deal because your first price was the good price. So I'm really looking forward to instead of spending an hour arguing with people over price, spending an hour serving them, teaching them about the vehicle, spending more time on the road test, and having a good relationship where we can feel like friends working together, sort of like on a project that we're team members, instead of feeling like, okay, did I put my army boots on today? And is my belt tight enough? Because, if I don't have my army boots, I'll lose my shoe in the mud because of something a customer says. And if I don't have my belt on, well, they'll take my pants and I'll go home, with nothing on my back. So it's been this tough situation where consumers, we're all trying to survive as buyers, but the dealerships are trying to survive as well. And if you fix the price, everyone gets what they need.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a take all for everybody, is to just do your homework and be realistic about what you want, focus on the out the door price, and have a good relationship with your salesperson, whoever that may be, and whatever dealership that may be. I gotta wrap it up for today, folks. I actually really enjoyed this. I think we should do this again sometimes, because that's
Do it.
we definitely learn a lot from
absolutely.
you guys, from you Insider. So I want to thank you, Junior, for taking time of your day and coming up, and as
Thank you
well
for having me.
Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Review. Guys, check out his channel, and check out you, Junior. Where can we check you out?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. My name's Junior
Physically,
Timothy.
where do you work?
So I'm at Nissan, Sherway Nissan in Toronto. Yeah, if you want to find me there,
There
in
you
the
go,
car world, that's
guys.
where I'm at.
If you're in Toronto, he's the man to speak to
If I'm
about
looking for a
different
Nissan Z, I'm
Nissan.
going to buy it through Junior.
There
Come
I
see
you
like
me.
what you had to
go.
say today.
That's it. We're making relationships already.
That's
And
it.
obviously, Johnny's channel is going to be in the description, guys. So don't forget to check that out. So thank you, guys. And we'll see you guys next time.